So I see a lot of forums in a lot of forums with where gaming laptops, the biggest concern is the temperatures. That's the biggest complaint. Oh, my laptop is getting so hot. I'm getting 85 degrees, I'm getting 95 degrees Celsius. What can I do? So this is the video. I'll be giving you 5 methods which you can use to lower the temperatures on your hot gaming laptop. So let's begin. So the first easiest method is to raise your laptop by a few inches, say 2 to 3 inches. This is what I have done. Raised it on these 1 inch or 1 inch 2-inch bottle caps. Maybe you have a more a more better method of doing this, and if you do, kindly share in the comment section. But just by raising your laptop by a few inches reduces your temperatures by up to 5 degrees Celsius. So that's the easiest method. The other way is to use a cooler pad. So another way is to use the cooler pad. Now this is a really damaged one, and it's a cheap one. I wouldn't recommend using a cheap one. You can use the Cooler Master laptop cooler pads are good. I'll show you 5 of one of the best cooler pads. So this is another way of cooling your hot laptop. Cooling pads. The one I showed you, don't use those type of cooling. They don't do much in cooling your laptop. You need proper cooling pads. Cooling pads may reduce by 5 degrees Celsius depending on the type of cooling pad, like this one from Kutech cooler pad chill mat, which also, and then the Cooler Master notepad one, which has one large fan, as you can see. I think those ones are good. Slightly a bit pricey, but effective. Then the Thermaltake Massive 20 RGB, the NMX Twister Audio, which is like this raised. Then there are other types like this one. These are vacuum type cooler pads. They attach to the side of your laptop where your exhaust fans are. This one is the Clean Cool. It sucks in air as opposed to the other ones blowing in air upwards into your chassis. This sucks out, so that's why it's called a vacuum type cooler. Sorry. So the other way is to undervolt, and then the third way to use it to cool your gaming laptop is to use this application called Throttlestop. Throttlestop is we'll use throttle stop to undervolt, meaning reduce the voltage of your CPU, and this is for mainly for CPU only, uh, thereby reducing the temperatures. Usually, when it's on idle, I am at approximately 37 degrees Celsius, the total temperature. But because I'm recording, you can see the temperatures here are 49 to 50 degrees Celsius. Now, there are a couple of pre-built settings for throttle stop. When you first start it, it's seems to be a little bit complicated, but it's not. You just need this setting, speed shift, EPP. Another setting in this FIVR favor is now this is where you change the CPU's core voltage to reduce temperatures. You can even reduce the clock rate, so you kind of underclock it. I know people will say, oh nah, why should I underclock my expensive gaming laptop? See, you need to see whether what temperatures and what to balance your and reduce your temperatures. So what we shall do, we you all you need is one, the speed shift. And so the speed shift operates at values between 0 and 255. So where 0 means the CPU will prefer its maximum frequency, and 255 means the system will prefer running the CPU at its lowest base clocks. So if you want performance, you put it at 0. If you want the least performance, so that for example if you are in battery mode, then probably you will go closer to 255, so such that you can uh, improve battery charge. Okay, so I have left it at 64. You can have a number of profiles. There are 4 profiles I have that are here. I have used a pre-built profile that's from a guy known as Opoka. He's also known as Red Sun. He's quite active on Acer forums. I shall link all those pre-built profiles for each CPU. The CPU, since mine is an Acer Predator Helios 300, it uses the Intel 9750H CPU. So there is, for a number of CPUs, for the 9750H, 8750H processors, there each one, there are a couple of them, but not for all CPU. But those ones will work. And what I've done is use that profile and further tweaked it, because the this is not the speed shift in that profile. So I have changed it to 64. Now you need to do trial and error to get these settings correct, and which is best uh, for your device. So I have done so since mine is a 9750H. You can see. So I have seen that these are the most stable values for speed shift. It also shows, as you can see, all the temperatures and the total temperature of the CPU. Coming to FIVR, favor control. What you need to know is just this: the CPU core and the CPU cache. Then you need to unlock the adjustable voltage. So this is where you unlock CPU core and CPU cache. Under CPU cache, I have put it at negative 140.6, which I've seen is to be the most stable. You need to experiment and get the best voltage for CPU core and CPU cache. Is both the same, 140.6 millivolts. Now the issue here, if you apply too much of a voltage, let's say you go up to 150 millivolts, you might get a BSOD. The two common BSODs, or blue screens of death, is where uncorrectable error, like this one. So if it's too much of if the voltage is too low, let's say you reach 150 and you play a game, and then eventually you run into this, uh, then you know it is too much of an undervolt. The other one, this is the most common BSOD. So this, either the PC will restart or you'll have to restart manually, and it won't damage your machine, don't worry. This is the only thing that can happen. So you need to then decrease it to, let's say, 140 or 130, and no two laptops will be the same. Even if they have the same CPU, they will, you might run into these issues if you do too much of an undervolt. The other thing is, so keep in mind, then you can reduce the clock rate. By default, the 1950H CPU can turbo boost to 4.5 gigahertz. Now, depending on how what FPS is you and the graphic settings, the FPS is that you want, you might decrease or increase. I have put it at 3.2 gigahertz. I know people will say, oh no, why should we? My aim is to reduce the temperatures as much as I can, and the, the reduce the temperatures and the fan noise. That is the other thing. So at 3.2 gigahertz, I feel, but you do as you want. So all these different four profiles can be changed. Then make sure it's okay, save voltages immediately, so that whenever you save, you say okay, it saves the voltages. By default, throttle stop does not start up immediately when Windows starts. So what you need to do, So you need to then go to task scheduler. You can just type task scheduler, create a basic task, call it Throttlestop. You can put a description, and then when do you want it to start. When the click on when the computer starts, go next, start a program, next, and browse to the program to where Throttlestop has been uh, installed. So I have it on my C drive on this. Click on Throttlestop, and then Throttlestop except on startup, the system startup, so that whenever it starts up the Throttlestop, otherwise the voltage will not be applied if it doesn't, the undervolt and etc, the other settings. So that's how you do. And another thing which I forgot, there are different profiles. If you go into options, you can have up to 4 profiles, and you can even change the CPU temp, GPU temp, colors, and etc. Each one can be. Now for example, for ultra battery, it greatly improves your battery's charge, so you can have much. I am getting at least approximately 5 hours on this Acer Predator Helios. So on game it's this, on benchmark everything is at, the speed shifts is at 0, so I want the maximum performance. Battery and ultra battery it's at 250. You can see the undervolt is 145.5, CPU cache is 133.8, and it gives me at least 5 hours, in some cases 6 hours. But the gaming and all is I use this profile. So the fourth method I will show you in cooling your gaming laptop is GPU undervolting using software known as MSI Afterburner. This you can download. You just do a Google search uh, for MSI Afterburner, and by default it usually looks like this. It's for overclocking, but here we shall use it for undervolting the GPU. Remember in the previous section it was CPU undervolting. Now we are going to do GPU undervolting to reduce temperatures on the GPU. So download it, and then download it from the MSI website. Then come here. Now yours will look like this. So you need to come, if you want to change the skin, come to settings and then change the user interface. There are several skins. The second thing you need to do is to change the monitoring section,
monitoring settings, as in what um, for example, to show temperatures and GPU usage, etc. So you need to enable. So you come to monitoring tab, and then let's say you want to monitor the GPU temperature. Of course, that's one of the things you need to monitor. So you come here, and then you say show on screen display. You see, so it will be in OSD. Then for GPU usage, depends on you, but keep in mind, the more the monitoring graph, monitoring elements, let's say, the more the usage, GPU usage. So what I've just the GPU temperature for the main GPU, the Nvidia 1660 Ti, GPU usage, GPU video usage, okay, the memory usage, core clock. This is another important thing. If you don't want others, at least do the temperature and core clock. Temperature limit to see whether it's thermal throttling. Voltage limit and all. I also instead of doing all CPU temperatures, just the overall CPU temperature and CPU usage, RAM usage, frame rate, obviously, okay, and all these. So what we need to do to undervolt the GPU is to pick one of these profiles. There are 5 profiles. I've already done my settings on profile number 2. So we are going to do on profile number 1. Click on profile number 1 and unlock it. Make sure it's not locked, it's unlocked. Then we'll come here to the voltage frequency curve editor. You click that and see by default it is at this point. This is the graph by default for the 1660 Ti. If yours is different, if you have a different GPU, obviously the graph will be different. What we want to do is limit the frequency, because this is unused. If ever it reaches this frequency here, then your temperatures are high. So we limit it so it can't go high enough. Okay, so we'll do that. But let's see now the voltage usage on, let's say, heaven benchmark. Okay, let's apply this. Make sure that number 1. So now at its default state, let's run heaven benchmark. Heaven benchmark you can download on, just do a Google search and install it. I'm just using it. You can even use any game of your choice, but I'm using heaven benchmark, which is a GPU stress test. So run it. Let's see the what monitoring it does, and what at what frequency. Mostly I'm interested in is at what frequency is the GPU running, and over time what it's clocking at. Let's Yes, so now you can see uh, when running, it is going up to even 1680 megahertz, 1695 megahertz, and that is increasing the GPU's temperature. I can even hear the fans revving. The CPU, you can see, is now at 82 degrees Celsius. Because of that, the so even if you do a benchmark, quite high. See that? Okay, so let's quit this benchmark. Okay, 1875. Now, so now that was the default profile. So we need to change the clock rate, and there are these 5 profiles. Profile 1, make sure it's unlocked so that we can make changes. Come to the voltage curve editor. Okay, now you can see from 13, say 1360, probably 1370, that is 1380, up to 1935, it can boost. We don't want that extra voltage, so let's reduce it. Just move this node to your desired voltage, in this case 1298, and then the second one, then press shift and then highlight with your left mouse button, then shift again and enter twice till it can't boost. Okay, so 1298. Now it may or may not, but this is what you need to do to make it flatline at let me say it flatline 1298 megahertz. So save it, saving it profile 1, lock it, check again 1300. Even this number 2, I have done almost something similar. Okay, so the clock has reduced. So now let's see the Heaven benchmark at this stage. Now the previous methods, the undervolting and the undervolting of the CPU and GPU does not void warranty. This is because this is software. You're not doing anything to the hardware. You've not opened up anything. So it does not void warranty. The only problem is with CPU undervolting. You might get BSOTs. So the fix for that is just to increase the decrease rather the undervolt, uh, so that until you don't get an episode. That means in the when you go into here, the offset voltage, if it's let's say you put it at 145, then you increase it. So another way you can reduce temperatures is by using Nvidia's GeForce Experience app. So once you go ahead and open the GeForce Experience app, you can go to your settings, games, and then enable whisper mode. So what this one does is it's designed to reduce the fan noise. So and also reduce thereby reducing heat. But one problem with this, it optimizes the games. You can see anything with the green tick means it's NVIDIA optimized. You can see. So by default, it will reduce the FPS to 40 FPS. So all games, if they are optimized, will be to 40 FPS. To increase the FPS, just right click here and go to your NVIDIA control panel. So let's say Rise of the Tomb Raider, or let me add a new game which I haven't added. I think I haven't started it yet. Sorry, anyway, let's say for example Arkham City. Arkham City is already at 60. Let's just take Tomb Raider. Now, usually it is at 40 FPS. I've just changed the FPS, so you can it's usually at here at 40. So you just need to under whisper mode. You just need to change it to whatever you want. So I have put it at 60 FPS. I know you're going to say, oh, you have an Acer Predator or any other gaming machine and you're playing at 60 FPS, but you've got to look at the I'm looking at fan speeds and I'm looking at heat. So that's why I'm reducing it to this much so that there's not much fan noise and the heat is level is quite low. But whatever, if you put it on whisper mode, you can change it to however much you want. But the maximum frame rate, as you can see here, is 120 FPS. To decrease your temperatures or at least reduce the temperatures is fan cleaning. Now, unfortunately, I don't have any laptops with dirty fans. My this is a Predator Helios is quite new, so I only had a little bit of dust. But if your laptop is more than 1 year, or if you're in an environment where there is a lot of dust, then you need to clean your fans, because obviously if the fans are dirty and they have been clogged with dust, then it's not going to dissipate the heat and therefore the high temperatures. So I'm using this video from the channel Acer Predator Helios to show you quickly fan cleaning. You can see from this he's unplugging the fans and trying to remove the fan assembly. Okay, then he removes the fans themselves, covers. Now you can see all this. So this is disastrous. This could happen, and you need to remove all that gunk and dirt and anything which is clogged in. A thorough cleaning is required. So hopefully that should reduce your temperatures. Now the last method is undervolting. Uh, um, sorry, repasting. Repasting really reduces your temperatures. Uh, you need to repaste the thermal compound. So I have a dedicated video for that. The link will be in the description that shows uh, how you can repaste, because there are two reasons why you need to repaste. One reason is because let's say your laptop is now more than 1 year old. What happens is the paste hardens, especially stock paste. Uh, and stock paste usually isn't of high quality. That's another reason why you need to repaste. So good pastes are Arctic MX4, Cryonaut, Noctua, and then Cooler Master. There are several others, and in my video I used Arctic MX4 and I got a drop of 15 degrees Celsius. So definitely look into. I know you might be saying that will void my warranty. It will void your warranty, but what you can do is, let's say you have an Acer laptop and you have an Acer warranty still standing. You can call the Acer technicians and tell them that the the laptop is overheating. They will come and repaste probably. Then you can go in and repaste yourself by watching the video. So definitely look at the description on how to do that. I've done an entire video step by step on how to repaste both the CPU and GPU. Link in the description. Yeah, so those are some of the ways. Hopefully any number of ways will lower your temperatures. I know some people might be thinking these are so hard. Why should we go through this? This is because in a thin chassis, you have a thin chassis with high-end components, so definitely heat will be produced. But thankfully there are ways to do that to reduce the temperatures. Anyway, hope this video has been informative, and hopefully it will reduce your temperatures, because I see especially in the Facebook groups and people complaining mostly about temperatures. So hopefully this will address all your issues. In case of any questions, please comment. I will get back to you. Kindly like, subscribe. Please subscribe to support my channel. I need to get it to at least 1,000 subscribers for monetization. And please share. Thank you for watching.